So on this thing, all right, next topic is metal cutting. And metal cutting is interesting, the popularity of metal, it's concrete metal continues to grow. Every commercial site has concrete metal, and you have insurance codes that are driving more and more concrete metal. Coastal areas, natural disaster. This trend continues. And the way to cut it today is either you're welding it or you're melting it, right? And so it's not the most safe environment. And so the number one way to cut metal still on the job site is through bonded. We sell bonded. It's hard to believe that it's not in the 1800s. I mean, because this is it was great in the 1800s. And what you're doing is you're grinding. By definition, there's no cutting involved, right? You don't even have any kind of positive hooking. It is grinding. So therefore, you're burning and you're melting. And so your sparks, and you create a lot of heat, high heat. So Blair, let's do a quick illustration on, it's hard to believe, what's the most common way to cut metal today, please.
Hey, good morning everyone. I'm going to be cutting 1/4-inch wall square tubing. We're going to do it with our traditional bonded abrasive cutoff method. Then we're going to show you the newer, better solution with 14-inch cermet.
Gives me an abrasive right now.
Look at that heat. That's incredible heat. Now look on the side of it. You can see burning, discoloration, because you're getting past the point of melt, right? You're melting it itself. So a little dangerous. You got sparks. If you're on a job site, you have to have an OSHA burn permit, have a second person watching you. So we look at that and we go, we believe there's got to be a better solution. So we created a cermet circular saw blade that is designed to cut in a room temperature environment. It's super fast. You don't lose the dimension. What Blair was also talking about is when you're cut with bonded, you'll lose that dimension. Sorry about the mic, guys. When we move around, I think we get a little bit better. So bear with us on this. But you start losing your depth, and then all of a sudden you can't cut the same depth. So he's probably got one more cut, and then that thing is done, right? So there you go. And you know what? We'll just be consistent like this, right? So now after he makes that cut, now he's got to go back and clean it up. I mean, that cut is not proper, it's not good. So now we take a cermet. Cermet is a ceramic metallic material. It's not carbide, it's much harder than carbide itself. And it's designed to take the heat simply. So you got to, when we grind it and make it, we got to grind it much slower, and it's much more heat resistant. I think we'll show you why now, if you would, Blair. Unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
That's amazing. He's holding it. It's not
Just barely heat the piece up, right?
And he's holding it. So we're cutting essentially in a room temperature environment where you got to be careful. If you ever want to do this, make sure you're not standing out in the sun and the metal gets really, really hot, right? So if you're in room temperature, it's going to maintain essentially in room temperature. And look at this, the quality of this cut. So there's not burring, it's shiny, it's glassy, there's not color disfiguration on it, so there's a lot of positives going on. So changing the game and cutting metal. Super, super excited. So we took that technology and we said, hey, let's step it up a little bit. And we put it on a 7 1/4 blade, a 7 1/4 48 tooth. And on top of that, this is a dedicated metal cutting saw, but we put this 7 1/4 technology on a standard circular saw. So the ideal way to do it is to use a low RPM dedicated metal saw. Why? It's because the whole housing is built to handle metal shape, but you can put it on a regular saw. People are doing it every single day. So to illustrate this, Blair, can you make a cut through here?
Yes, sir.
And then we don't need anybody in front or behind this line. Well, I mean, typically this thing is, I believe, 1800. So, but this, what is this Hilti RPM?
It's at about 3,000 RPM.
3,000. So, you know, your standard circular saw, top handle's 5,800, worm drive is 3,800. So when you get it in a small diameter thing, I think 2,000 to 3,000, you're in a safer area. But also, too, like this Hilti, it's built for more metal. And even that Milwaukee 8-inch is built to handle because the housing can stand it. But people are doing this every day. And this is one of the points you want to make, is that they don't have to go out and buy a brand new saw, circular saw. They can put this on and use it every single day, ready to go.
All right, so you got a big beam here, typical construction steel. The flange on this is 1/2 inch. So we're going to show you what you can do with a Cermet blade on a typical wood cutting circular saw.
Like butter. Isn't that amazing?
Touch it, lick it. So cool to the touch, it's basically still room temperature. The finish quality is going to be a lot better than your factory edge. It's good to go. You don't have any cleanup to do.
So very exciting. So this is a 48 tooth. We also have it a 6.5 inch as well. So designed to cut thick metal. Now, huge application for metal studs, right? I mean, everything's metal studs. I'm doing it, and it's hard to believe that people are still using bonded wheels. I mean, you go to any job site, they're still using bonded wheels inside. You know, not when you're out there. And all the smoke that's created, it's enclosed when you're building it, right? So we want to take that technology. The problem is with the 48 tooth or a low tooth count, it's going to create too much vibration, and the finish is going to not be acceptable. So what we've done is we're introducing 3, call it thin gauge metal blades that are finishing for thinner gauge steel that's going to cut cool, cut long, but it's also going to cut clean. So you have to go back and do rework. And then we're all about efficiency and productivity. So Blair, why don't you show us what kind of tool you have here?
Yes, sir. We're using the 6.5 inch Hilti. You'll find this all across the nation on any framing site. We're cutting one of the more challenging applications here. These are 16 gauge studs. So they're heavy enough to break teeth, but they're not so light that vibration is not a problem. So you have the worst of both worlds. You have vibration, but you have a heavy enough gauge to where it's really going to impact the teeth.
All right, watch your ears on this a little bit. Heads up. Like butter. Look how smooth that is. Look at the sides. And for anybody that's ever used bonded right now, you'll see it leaves a mess and discolors it, and the cut isn't perfectly true. Good stuff?
Good
so
stuff.
we have this 6.5 inch 60 tooth. We've also created a 7.25 70 tooth. And then now we have an 8 inch 54 tooth. And this 8 inch is a beast to go through any kind of corrugated steel for people in the Midwest and West Coast. And even the Southwest, you know, corrugated steel is popular with housing, and then of course this is popular for anything commercial grade.
Outbuildings.
Anything across the country. So,
Okay, so we're cutting steel deck here. Today, the typical solution that you would see is with a bonded abrasive saw. Someone's going to have their 9-inch or 14-inch gas saw. It's going to make a lot of sparking, make a lot of noise, generate a lot of heat and burring on there. In addition to that, especially when you're cutting with a saw like this, you're going to have a really hard time with abrasive tool making a nice square cut. We're going to show you how fast you can cut when you're cutting versus grinding. So we'll show you our 854. So again, this is 6